Ladies and gentlemen, it's Destination Uri, and pray silence for Ian Sands of Blues on the Bay. You'd expect music to start there, Ian.
I thought you'd have a band ready
That
for me.
should have been the case, I tell you. How are you?
Not too bad, Rowan.
You've been
yourself?
busy. You've met Andrew, yeah?
Yes, I have indeed,
Or
yes.
Edward, you met Andrew on the desk. It's been a busy year for you.
Yeah.
Because Blues in the Bay doesn't happen just like that.
No, it's probably not 24/7, but it's certainly every day of each year you're doing something on it, you know.
Yeah, but you earn a living as well.
Yes, yeah, we all have to. There is honest musicians there that has to go out and do a day's work, you know. Yeah, so I work just up the hill here at the moment of Newry-Mourne and Down District Council as it is now.
Yeah. Blues, and this is your territory, Andrew. I'll keep doing that, Edward. Blues brings us into the context of gospel singing and blues. To what extent will that genre be reflected in the overall content of the program?
Yeah, well, it probably has been reflected for at least 10 years. In the park, we have a family weekend as well as part of the festival. We call it Bluesbury.
Bluesbury.
And, yeah.
I love it.
So Rosalind Sheridan here in town,
Yes.
she has a gospel choir, and my daughter sang in her choir, and just by talking to each other, we've actually agreed that we would have them feature in the festival.
Yes.
So every year, the Sheridan Gospel Choir sing in the bandstand in Warrenpoint Park.
Fantastic.
It's absolutely amazing.
Your God is getting in there everywhere, sir.
See that? Yep.
And then we have Brenda Rosenberg, and she comes from American Black Gospel background, and she will feature in the festival every year. And she also broadcasts on Radio Ulster.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot of the singers have, especially the American ones, have a gospel background. Donna Masters as well, who would also feature in Radio Ulster. She would also perform there too. She's singing with Van Morrison these days as well.
Yes. In the way you're talking, I begin to get a vision for this festival because I'm a Philistine in these matters. You know, I work, sleep, eat. That's me.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all I do. But I begin to get a vision that I should block out the time of the festival and say, this is for Warren Point, and this is where I'm going to go, and make the most of it. That I'm going to a gig, is that what they're called?
Yeah,
I'm going to a gig,
concert.
a concert. I'm going to the concert or the gig, and then after that, I'm going to go round and have a pizza, or I'm going to go and have a meal, and then I'm going on to the next one.
Yeah, well, see, probably if you had your golden hurdle let down off your balcony, we could have sent a musician up to you.
Wow, I'm going to play it on the balcony from Warren Point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's fantastic for Warren Point. Some people say it's Warren Point's Christmas because it is the busiest weekend of the year.
But it's lovely, you know. It's gentle. It's it's not. I use the word gentle in a context. It's not mad nonsense going on.
No.
There's a lovely concentration on the joy of music.
Yeah. The majority of musicians that play are all trained, skilled musicians, particularly the ones that come from Europe. They went to music universities there, so they take the music really seriously. We sort of maybe picked up a lot of our skills just from other people, but they have studied it full time. So there's a lot of professional full-time musicians that play at the festival.
Your history in music, it's there. You play. You have a family that play. Mm-hmm. How did that translate and transform into Blues on the Bay?
Blues.
How did you become a kind of a great impresario that creates this wonderment every year?
Yeah, well, it's probably came a long way from playing in the Score in Glen Hall.
My goodness. You a Glen man?
Yes, so I would have been a trad Irish traditional. That would have been myself and my brother would have played in it. And I always kept very close links with folk music. And when I lived in Belfast, I used to go to the Downpatrick Folk Club. I actually left Belfast to find music elsewhere. But I joined their committee, and on a Tuesday night they had like musicians' night off and a big jam. But the music that was played, it was more like moving hearts and horse-lips. So you had a rock drum kit, you had Irish pipes, you had tin whistles, you had electric guitars. So I slowly sort of transgressed from the folk. I like the idea of a full rock blues backing band, and the two work perfectly well together.
But it's given to very few people to turn a dream into reality.
Yeah.
Now, what's the chemistry, what's the alchemy within you that allows you to be successful year upon year upon year in the Blues on the Bay?
Yeah, I suppose probably it's a passion for music, because when you're playing music, you can't be thinking of anything else, you know, and the whole social element as well, not just chatting to other musicians, but playing together with maybe complete strangers. And, you know, within a couple of bars of a song, you're instant friends. If your music clicks,
Yeah.
you generally find that you click with them. So you do. Well, back just before the festival started, I went over to San Francisco. I went over to their blues festival.
This was at
there.
the very beginning.
Yeah.
Many years?
This will be the 17th year
My
this
goodness.
year.
What about that, Edward?
Yeah. So we're down in this big massive park called Fort Mason, and it was a blues festival. During the day, lots of sunshine, Californian sunshine.
Wow.
Picnic blankets, families, and either side you had food, record stalls, and then you had your main band. And the local radio station was called K-Fog, and there's always a lot of fog in San Francisco, but as soon as the sun burns it off, it's amazing.
Sounds lovely.
But they would say, well, the weather in the Bay Area today is, in the highs and
Yes,
absolutely
yes,
fantastic. So if you go to Warren Point Park this year, the Blues in the Bay, it's a mini version of the San Francisco Blues Festival.
That's lovely.
Because you got the sea, you got the food, you
That's
got the
great.
music, you got the family. It's
Remind us of the dates.
it's the 20th of May right through to the 25th. And that's from the Wednesday right through the bank holiday Monday.
I shan't be able to be there. I have this awful requirement on me to go and live in Spain.
Right, goodness me.
What am I going to do?
I don't know. Well, unless we can do a destination near you, some sort of a live
Broadcast. Wouldn't it be good?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can introduce the bands from Spain,
Oh, well, that'd be nice. Destination Costa or something like that would be good.
Or send your grandson, Michael.
Michael is good. You were
represent.
with Michael and Siobhan's choir. You were out in Rome.
That's right, last year for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, but that's a great coterie of musicality.
Yeah.
You're all there together and you're very musical, you're very learned in matters musical, you make a great sound. And things like Gaudiamus and Anuna all come to mind.
Yes.
Gorgeous music.
Yeah. Well, I find traditional Irish and blues and folk all is a perfect blend.
Yes.
It seems to really work really well. There's a friend of mine, Brendan Monaghan, would play
Oh, Brendan, how
on
is
the
he?
Irish pipes.
Yeah.
Brilliant, fantastic musician. He plays with Phil Coulter and all these guys.
Brendan came with Phil to Newry Cathedral for me and helped me build half a dozen classrooms in my African school as a consequence of one concert one night in the cathedral.
Brilliant.
And Brendan was there with Phil, and it was the most glorious. Is he still playing with Phil?
I think occasionally,
occasionally they do.
He does recordings with
Yes,
them
yes,
as well, so he
yeah.
does.
Yeah, music's important to you guys because the message, whether it be the Salvation Army banging the drum in the corner, or whether it be the massed choirs of the Vatican, or your lovely choirs and songs in Rostrevor in the beautiful church there.
Yeah,
God is a musician too.
Yeah, well, I think maybe you would agree with me. There's a great sense of community with music, isn't there?
Yeah.
It brings people together, regardless of their background or their understanding of life. There's a sense where it brings people together. There's a unity in it, and I think that's very important, and that's why it's so important to the church as well, because the church also seeks to do that.
Will you be attending, because you love music?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not musical at all personally,
love music,
but
I
I
know
love
the
music.
secret.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And yes, I mean, what a backdrop you have for that.
That's
You know,
fantastic. Rostrevor the same.
yeah. Why would you not go? You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Van the man, Van Morrison. He's one of your top acts there.
Yes, this is his.
And he's yet again donating to the hospice as a consequence of the appearance.
Fantastic.
And everyone will say to you when you mention Van Morrison, "Ooh," they think he's an ornery sort of guy.
Yeah.
How did you get on with him? Where did you find him?
Well, I generally find most people that maybe don't, let's say, be kind in their words about him, have never met him. So
Yeah, that's true.
It's he's a very private person.
Yeah.
He's a very dedicated artist. That's all he does is his music. So he asks to come back to Warren Point every year because, first of all, he's treated with respect. He's given an excellent venue. There's, like, as I say, every seat's a front seat in Warren Point Town Hall.
Yes.
The sound and the atmosphere is absolutely amazing. And he brings maybe a 10-piece band, and the show he puts on is phenomenal.
Yes.
And he has great interaction with the audience. It's probably the best place anywhere you can go to see Van Morrison is at Blues on the Bay, because it's so relaxed, so comfortable. And for any musician, if you're not under pressure, you're going to play, like you've never played before, and it'll never be the same again, especially with blues. It's always a one-off life experience as you play it,
Introduce us to the feeling that's in here, in the heart of Ian Sands. 17 years down the road. Another one is on the chocks, ready to go.
Yeah.
You're a success.
Yeah, well, I wish I could say it's ready to go because there's still quite a lot of things happening, but we're very, very close to it.
Yeah.
Basically, you have all your cupboards in the kitchen, all your ingredients are in there.
Yes.
And every year you're just making a slight change to the cake. You maybe making it slightly sweeter, or whatever you feel that's the best fit for it. So, but I would actually picture every single individual gig, the time of day, the location of it, making sure that it is a perfect fit.
Yeah.
And place myself just like another person going to the festival. When I come into Warrenpoint, what is it I want to see? Do I want to sit down, have a nice meal, listen to relaxing jazz music, or do I want to get my party gear on and get out and dance with everybody on a Saturday night, or do I want to sit in the park with my family and relax? Yeah. So there's such a, or if I'm a musician, they're going, how do they do that? And all the artists, all the musicians are totally accessible.
Yes.
So between gigs and things, well, what sort of amplifier are you using, what type of pedal? We usually do music workshops as well. So, and people have friendships that they've made, and they come back every year, and it's like annual get-togethers.
Yeah. How do people get the tickets for it? What happens? What's the booking system?
Blues on the Bay.
This is important to you. Have we listened to this?
Yes, bluesonthebay.com. If you go to there and you click, it'll take you through to the Van Morrison tickets.
Wow.
And Muddy Waters' son, Mud Morganfield, is playing as well, so it'll get you tickets for him too.
Aren't they?
Yeah. So Muddy Waters' real name was McKinley Morganfield, so this is his eldest son, Mud, so he's playing as well.
Coming in from America too?
Yes. He's coming in from Chicago to Dublin into Warrenpoint, so that's his first place to come.
I am very, very proud of you. I really am.
Yeah. Well, it's such a small little town. People don't expect when they come to Warrenpoint, and when they come the first time, they say, "Why did nobody ever tell me about this place?" The backdrops, the mountains, the sea, the restaurants, the music, and everything's door to door. Plus, there's about 90 gigs all free. There's only 2 gigs you have to pay into.
Really?
Yes, everything's free.
It's so interesting you say that because that was my experience of Warrenpoint. Before I came here, I sort of knew where Warrenpoint was, sort of.
Yeah.
But the first time we drove down on the Sunday morning when I preached for the congregation, we drove along the loch, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and you just thought, wow, this is the best kept secret in the province.
Well, it
is, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You know, and since we have come, a lot of people have come down to visit us, and they've said exactly the same thing every time. You know. Yeah.
And the same way you come in from Hilltown or coming in from Newry, the mountains just open up.
Yeah.
And Rostrevor and Warrenpoint, there's nowhere else like it, you know.
Special. And you've the mountains of Cooley on the one side, you have the foothills of the Mournes on the other.
Yeah. That's your C.S. Lewis. And
Narnia.
Yes, and all the different songwriters, the mountains of Mourne,
Oh, Mary, this London's a wonderful sight, where the people are working by day and by night. Yes.
Yeah.
I would have been dangerous if I had got musical talent.
I don't know. I think if you spend a weekend in a Chicago Blues Club somewhere, I think it could be converted fairly easily.
Things could be done.
Yeah, you could bring that beard back as well. I think
the beard was good. I love the beard.
Yep.
Do you know what that beard did at Christmas? I was telling stories with it and telling about people said, look at him. And we children were coming, like this here. I said, no, I've nothing to do with him, but I'm his official emissary. I'm here to sort of tell people that he's coming. And families invited me into their homes as the emissary of Santa.
Right.
Dressed in the proper stuff.
The whole works.
To tell the real story of Christmas.
Brilliant.
How Santa and his brother Tanis were both there in the stable on Christmas when Jesus was born.
Brilliant.
This year, £1,800 for the St. Vincent de Paul
Fantastic.
Oil Fund. Last year, £7,000
Goodness
for
sake.
all because of a beard.
Yeah.
And then I shaved the whole lot off. Mr. Hugh, Hugh does that over in the barber shop across the street there, Hugh Gorman. And the beard and the hair go into a bag and are brought down into the hedgerow on the way to Warrenpoint, awaiting the arrival of the swallows.
Right.
So it's a win-win-win situation all the way.
So that's why they were closed for a full day, just to make their way through all that.
Listen, I want to thank you for coming in again.
Fantastic.
It's been a great privilege to have you. You are understated. massively
Yeah.
by you.
Yeah, well,
that's the first thing.
Well, the best thing is stay in the background, get the work,
I know,
get
but
the work
you,
done.
you make things happen big
Yeah,
style.
yeah. I get to play too as well,
that's
which is good. You know.
Well, I'll think of you when I'm in Spain,
Yes,
and
okay.
I'll be maybe we'll hear some of it there in some kind of way. But I have this vision of me and my rowing boat off the shore of Nerja, simply rowing along quietly, a nice glass of sangria,
Yeah.
and just take.
You can say hello to my Spanish friends, Miguel Talavera. They played 2 years
Really?
ago from Barcelona.
From
so-
Barcelona.
Yeah.
Barcelona.
So
And
it's
thank you,
good.
sir.
No, you're very welcome.
The man who makes Jesus real. That's he. That's he. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
God
Ronan.
bless you. Take
Thank you.
care. You're very kind. That's us guys and girls out there in the great land of viewership. And what did they do? They